Echo! Echo! Wait, are we filming?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
What's up, everybody? Dr. Houseman.
Dr. Nagley.
We're excited to talk to you guys a little bit about what is this thing called scoliosis.
Yep. So typically when you're looking at the spine from the front view, you want to see a nice and straight spine. Oftentimes what we'll see on x-rays is something that looks a little closer to this.
So wait, I'm not supposed to walk around like this?
Right. No, you want to be symmetrical. And typically, oftentimes it grows incorrectly. I mean, this could be a number of different things, from congenital abnormalities, from your spine being smaller on one side.
Hold on one sec. So you said congenital abnormalities.
Yes. So
How often is it really, though, that we see a congenital issue causing scoliosis?
Oh, I mean, in the single percentiles. Yeah.
Like 2-3% maybe. Right. Most scoliosis, at what age would you say most scoliosis really starts developing?
It starts developing at a young age. When it's typically found is in your middle teens, or even a little bit later on, and that's after it's extremely high.
So the main reason, though, why generally speaking it's found in later ages, like teens, as opposed to it being found younger age, is because we wait until that point in time to start doing those tests in school. Right, like the Adams Ford flexion test, and on another video, Dr. Casey and I were talking about that it was gym teachers that actually do that test.
Right.
And
gym
school
teachers
nurses,
yeah.
And neither of them are really trained with scoliosis related or spine related issues, or how
whether
to
or not
find
they're
them.
trained, it goes into a lot of the truth of the matter is they don't actually do much testing. They only look at pretty much one specific test, and then they leave it at that. So it's pretty easy to miss unless that scoliosis has already been formed in an extreme manner, and you're looking over, typically it's not dubbed scoliosis until it's 15 degrees or more, and surgical consult isn't even considered until 35 degrees of curvature.
So let me understand this right. You're saying that most of the scoliosis issues in the medical world aren't really dealt with until it's already become a major issue.
Oh yeah, and in fact what they'll say is if you have a curvature in the spine that's under 15 degrees, they'll say, oh, this is definitely a problem, but we'll just monitor to make sure that this doesn't get worse.
And so what you're talking about is when the spine starts to grow crooked, right there, would you say that that's an issue?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And they're not going to diagnose it as scoliosis truly until it really gets to about there.
Right.
So it's almost like identifying I've got a problem there, but then just saying, you know what, I'm not going to do anything about it until it really becomes a major problem.
Well, and honestly, at this point when it's a little bit less, all that happens is you have a little bit of joint pain, muscle pain, and so that's normal. This is something that our society accepts as an everyday occurrence. This is something that happens in life.
Yeah, that's so true. And how many of us do actually walk around with like our head cockamamie to the side like that? What happens typically with one curve if it's left? What does our body do to try and fix it?
Creates another curve to adapt.
Right. So then we end up developing what's called a secondary curve. And so this can be taking place in the spine. You'd be like, dude, that would be so obvious. But if you're not trained to look for the right things, posturally speaking, ear height, head tilt, head translation, pulling to the side, shoulder height imbalances, all these things are what we actually are going to be checking for on the 7-point scoliosis evaluation. But if you're not trained to look for these things, a lot of times you miss it. Posturally speaking, someone walking around with a spine like this, a 6 or 7-year-old child, you might not even notice it. But if you go back and you look at some of the family pictures, you might notice maybe a little bit of a head tilt. And it's when you start looking for it, it becomes really evident. And we look for this stuff literally all day long. And it's all we do is look at spine. So you were saying a small amount of kids, congenital abnormality, like 2%.
Yeah, a very small amount.
What that actually means is when your child was growing in the womb, instead of the bone being shaped normally, maybe it's shaped like a triangle wedge. And then because of that, they literally have a curve in their spine. Like there's nothing they can do about it.
Right.
Extremely rare.
Right.
Most scoliosis really starts all the way when kids start to crawl. Right. When they start to sit upright and gravity goes through their spine, it's all about that side view profile. And this is what a lot of people don't really look for, especially school nurses, especially gym teachers. they're looking for your child bends forward. What is the spine doing from this view? Is it bending to the side or is it staying straight? And very often it's hard to see that without x-rays. So what we would also be taking into consideration is the side view. So from the side view, what are the three things that we're looking for?
Now, there's two curves that are moving towards the front. One towards the front in the neck and the low back. You want that to go forward. And in the mid back, you're looking for a small curvature towards the back.
So summarize 3 curves from the side view. Forward curve in the low back, backward curve in the mid, and a forward curve in the neck. So as you guys are wobbling on the wobble cushion, or maybe you're on the Vibe platform right now, do me a favor, hold your hand up, put a little curve in your hand. You can humor me, right? This is the curve your child should have in their neck. Now, if over time, or let's just actually not say over time, when your kid starts learning how to walk, kids fall 5,000 times by the age of 5 learning how to walk, all that physical trauma, if it isn't dealt with properly and your child never develops this curve effectively in their neck, it's like taking your hand, go ahead and straighten your hand. What happened to my skin?
It gets all straightened
So
out.
the skin
and
right
tensed.
there on my palm stretched out. And this is one of the biggest underlying issues creates scoliosis. Because our bodies are smart, right? So if I cut myself, what happens?
Blood coagulates, skin heals over, and scabs.
And how many weeks? I got brand new skin.
Right?
3 weeks, brand new skin, right? So I don't have to think about my cut healing. However, what happens here is I don't have to think about the fact that the same thing's happening when I stretch my hand and my skin stretches. Inside the bones there, the spinal cord actually tethers and stretches. So we don't think about it, we don't know it's occurring, but from a front view, my body says, I don't like that stretch on my spine. So it still puts a curve in the spine. So instead of from the side view, it just puts it in from the front view.
Right. And what
So
all
anyway,
that's doing-
it's really complex with scoliosis, but it's easy to find if you have the right trained eye.
Yep, most definitely.
So anything you want to add to that, man?
No, that's good.
Okay. Little kid scoliosis. That's a little baby spine. Yeah, I just wanted to hold a baby spine up and show you guys baby spine. It's not actually a baby spine, it's just a miniature model, but this is essentially how big Axton's spine is right now. And he's about 7 months of age, so his bones are still growing very rapidly. And for kids and babies, if you guys aren't aware, it's like really, really simple, light adjusting technique. It's not the same way we would adjust you. Now, the coolest thing about this is if you can catch things early on, when kids 1, 2, 3, it's so much easier to correct the problem and adjust course. It's like being able to find out on your flight that you're 2 degrees off course right in the beginning of your flight path. But if I wait and I go 2 degrees off course and then I go for 3,000 miles, by the time I travel 3,000 miles, 2 degrees off course, how far from my destination am I? Way off course.
Right. And honestly, when you go into the kids' ability to heal, you can look at simple things like broken bones or scabs or anything. For a broken bone for a kid, it takes a matter of weeks, like less than a month. For an adult, if you break the same exact bone, it can take upwards of 2 months, 3 months for it to heal. And it just simply is stated that the younger and growing body has so much more to adapt to that it just will respond like that. So a lot less is needed to affect a lot more change.
So basically, instead of getting adjusted 3 times a week, 2 times a week, and doing some aggressive corrective type plan, for kids it's like twice a month, if that.
Yeah.
And so if we do find scoliosis there, very often it's just the chiropractic adjustments that'll do the trick. Especially if you catch them younger on, you don't have to retrain, remold muscle memory. Like for some of us, I mean, I'm 33 now, my spine's been in a bad position for years. I've literally got like 10 years of muscle memory that I have to work against. Right? So anyway, this whole upcoming week, Monday through Friday, August 5th through the 9th, we're actually doing complimentary for your children, 7-point scoliosis exam. And so all you got to do is just schedule to bring them with you on your next adjustment, spend 5 to 10 minutes with us. We're going to walk you through the entire exam. If we see anything that's unusual, we'll go ahead and do a scout x-ray. And then you've got the peace of mind, you know whether or not they're developing scoliosis or their spine's developing in a healthy, natural way.